Chapter 3. Updated notebook, carnet, recording all these events. Number 13. Lost luggage, switched it back. Number 14. Found some kinky unmentionables in Hector's luggage. He stole my underwear. Number 15. Drain backed up in sink. Found a coat hanger and fixed it. Number 16. Displayed my granny panties in front of my uptight Swiss boss. Number 17. Department store wouldn't take my card. Called bank and corrected misunderstanding. Number 36. Confused decimals with commas in the European number system and upset my boss. Did research into numbers. Number 37. Tripped on cobblestone walking to the bus stop in the dark. Skinned knee. 38. Found a mouse in my apartment. I didn't squeal. Or kill him. He's lived there longer than I have. Saturday morning, Mary Claire escorted Lainey across the street to the apartment and up to the 4th floor. The 2-room apartment barely looked lived in. The galley kitchen had no dishwasher. Under the counter, a dorm-size fridge hummed. A small table with 2 chairs sat near the window. In the kitchen, Mary Claire listed rules for trash, pointing to small bins. Compost goes in a compost bin in the alleyway. For recycling, all boxes must be tied together with string and cans separated from glass. If not, they will fine us for any and every infraction. And you absolutely must not forget to apply for your permis M. To work in the Canton de Vaud, Lainey needed to apply for a working permit. She made a mental checklist of things to do on Monday. Lainey's window opened to a splendid view of a train track. However, beyond the tracks, rows of tiered golden grapevines sliced the side of a hill, contrasting with the cerulean blue sky. On the opposite side of the apartment, Mary Claire's window faced the lake and the rugged Alps, obscured by the clouds. The weak sun stained the floor. Sorry you don't have more than a mattress. We'll find more furniture for you some Tuesday. I only live here on weekdays. On most weekends, I am with Jean in Thoiry, across the border in France. You'll have the whole apartment to yourself on weekends. Help yourself to anything in the fridge, she said from her room, dialing her phone. There's a key to the cave. You can store big stuff. We'll go shopping when you finish unpacking. After unpacking, which meant leaving her suitcase near her bed, Lainey wandered past Mary Claire's room, where she was yelling into the phone, and headed to the kitchen to scavenge for something to eat. Blackberries, yogurt, endives, persimmons, thick slices of bread, butter biscuit, palmier, raspberry jam, mayo in a tube. This was an Epicurean lifestyle. She glanced suspiciously at a box of milk in the fridge. While she lived in Switzerland, Lainey decided to eat like a European. No American cold cereal for breakfast. Then she spied it. On the counter, a pastry still fresh from that morning, wrapped in a piece of bakery paper. Pain au chocolat. Mary Claire did say to help herself to anything in the kitchen, right? Which meant she wasn't saving the pastry for anything. And why interrupt her important and loud conversation to ask about a measly pastry? Surely she wouldn't mind. Lainey picked up the pastry. It was light and fluffy. It hardly weighed anything. The puff enveloped the chocolate like a hot dog in a corn coat. She bit into it. Flaky, buttery, choco goodness. In a few bites, the whole thing was gone. More air than pastry, really. To an Epicurean, It was the quality, not quantity, that counted. Well, that was breakfast. She smacked her lips, satisfied. She should get ready. She was about to leave the kitchen when her stomach rumbled. The only thing Europeans ate for breakfast was one measly pastry? It wasn't going to last her all day. She searched for something to top her off. From the mini fridge, she found a vanilla yogurt. The berries were so temptingly fresh. She grabbed those, too. So cute in their diminutive plastic crate. She sprinkled a few into the yogurt. Now it needed a bit of crunch. She creaked open the cupboard. There sat a bag of muesli. What was muesli, anyway? A bowl of granola cereal was pictured on front. Granola. Healthy, right? Feeling so healthy and European, Lainey sprinkled some into her hand, tossing it into her mouth. Tastes burst on her buds. Oh, heavenly angels! She uncrinkled the bag, searching for the name of this food from the gods. Chocolate crock, with morsels of chocolate. Why didn't this exist in America? She gobbled up another handful, picking up the fallen morsels to eat them. Then she filled her cup of yogurt. She ate spoonfuls of chocolate crock, barely skimming the surface of the yogurt. She could eat this stuff for every meal. She ate each grain out of the vanilla yogurt and refilled the cup. Why would anyone settle for plain cereal when this stuff existed? Maybe she could set up some sort of trade alliance to import some. It would be a hit in America. Lainey could see the commercials now. Gotta have my crock. Genius. She still had some yogurt left over. She refilled her cup. What was in it, anyway? She examined the back of the bag after she set it down. The ingredients listed. Oats. Healthy. Sugar. Well, sugar was not, but something had to make it tasty. Palm oil was the healthy oil, right? Puffed rice. In rice cakes. A totally good-for-you food. Chocolate. Mostly healthy. Her eyes wandered to the nutritional information. She nearly choked on her third helping of chocolate crock. 20 grams of fat for every 100 grams. How much of this stuff did she eat? She stared into the bottom of her twice-filled yogurt cup, which held almost 200 grams. Ugh, 80 grams of fat. Not including the pastry. Her stomach ached with heaviness. What had she done? A rash of foul French tumbled from Mary Claire's lips as a box dropped from her overladen arms. Lainey met her in the hall. Mary Claire finally hung up her phone. Kicking the box down the hall with great drama, Mary Claire headed toward the front door. She spoke French so rapidly, Lainey couldn't understand. Everything okay? Mary Claire tossed an overnight bag on top of the box. Jean refuses to come to the gala in November. Gala? The big event to mark promotions and bonuses? Lainey followed her back to her room. She leaned on the doorframe as Mary Claire gathered a pair of stylish boots. Everyone must dress up and bring a date, usually. They do it once a quarter, but this one is the formal one. Jean says he's not coming. Why not? He's not a black-tie type of person. Doesn't jive with the conservative Swiss. From her bureau, she brought Lainey a framed photo of the two of them. Jean, with a nose ring, draped an arm over the top of her shoulders. His sleeveless shirt showed off a tattoo on his shoulder, barely visible on his dark skin, huge earrings overtaking his earlobe. His jeans were all ripped up. Yeah, he might feel out of place. Is he French? Algerian. Ah, Lainey said, handing back the picture. Mary Claire returned it to the bureau. Do I get to go? You work for Alpine Foods, n'est-ce pas? Yes. Then you must go. She headed for the kitchen, pinning her unruly hair up in a clip she found on the dresser. Lainey followed her. But I won't have a date for the gala. Don't worry about it. It's not until November. Maybe you have a boyfriend back home. He can fly out. Aaron and I broke up. Perhaps we both need to do some convincing. She gave Lainey an arched eyebrow, then glanced around the kitchen. Hey, where is my pastry? A fall breeze swept across the valley, capturing moisture from the lake. Coming from the desert, any temperature below 70 degrees gave Lainey the chills. The marketplace buzzed with action. A stand of flowers assembled in buckets made a wall of color. At another booth, Mary Claire circled the stands, plucking apples and pears off pyramids of carefully stacked fruit, huddled under the shade of an awning. She exchanged coins with the aproned grocers, who bagged and knotted the fruit together. One of the men, seeing Lainey's hesitancy, handed her a pear to taste. At first bite, it gushed on her face. She wiped the juice from her chin with her sleeve. Never had she eaten anything so deliciously ripe. But Mary Claire grabbed her and tugged her on to the store. Thank you for letting me stay with you. Lainey kept pace with her towards Centreville. Cars zoomed by dangerously close, with the metallic smell of exhaust. Don't think me, think Eve. Oh? He asked me if you could stay with me. Lainey chewed on the bit of information. At a crosswalk, Mary Claire's scarf fluttered in the wind. She glanced around the intersection, not waiting for the light. She stepped out into the street. Lainey followed. Everyone else waited for the signal. Will he recommend me to chocolate? Mary Claire was halfway across the road. Don't be disappointed about pet care. You are lucky to be working for Yves. His department is one of the top producing at Alpine Foods. In fact, they are hoping to sign a deal with a Japanese distributor by the end of the year. If he succeeds, he'll be in line for another promotion. If so, he'll be the youngest vice president Alpine Foods has ever promoted. How old is he? 28? Only 5 years older than Lainey. She'd love to be vice president of chocolate in 5 years. They entered a grocery store with a giant M on it. You know a lot about people. No? From her coin purse, she grabbed a Swiss franc and slid it into a slider, chaining 2 orange carts together, releasing a pin connecting them. She yanked them apart with a clash of metal. I work in the Human Resource Department. We knew all the dirt on everyone. Sounded juicy. Oh, do tell. She peered at Lainey from the corner of her eye. I could get into trouble, you know. Lainey shrugged. It was the same in the U.S. The HR department had access to a lot of private information. Mary Claire probably signed a gag order of sorts. It's only gossip, but you are my roommate and an intern, not an official employee of Alpine Foods. Not yet, anyway. Someday in chocolate, she hoped. Mary Claire bit her lip. But only if you promise not to tell a single soul, or I will terminate you, like this. She knifed her finger across her neck. Lainey wasn't sure if she meant figuratively or literally. Lainey nodded. Speaking might convince Mary Claire to change her mind. She was proving she could keep her mouth shut. Okay. Mary Claire squinted out across the store, heading for produce. In your department, one of the marketing directors who had come up for a promotion was found sleeping with an intern. Monsieur le Président found out and fired them both on the spot. Careers ruined. Both disgraced. Lainey gulped. Got it. No workplace romances. I didn't say no romances. She gave Lainey a meaningful stare as she maneuvered around the cookie aisle. Just don't get caught. Once in the produce department, Mary Claire stacked lettuce heads and carrots in the cart. No bag, just straight on the metal. Most people date people outside of work. Luke's girlfriend is a piece of work. I met her at the company picnic a few weeks ago. Artificial hair, teeth, nails, boobs. There wasn't a limb or a feature not messed with. A shudder filtered through her shoulders as she snatched pots of creme fraiche, depositing them in the cart. Lainey struggled to imagine anyone with Luke. He had sleaze written all over him. Mary Claire grabbed a wheel of camembert in a wooden crate. As for the others, I've never seen Guy with anyone steady. A new girlfriend every 6 months or so. Britta, of course, has a sweetheart she sees in Bern, some stiff Swiss German who only bends to sit down. Cups of pear and apple compote went into the cart. But, she lowered her voice to a whisper, her kids are really messed up. One daughter has several children, and they don't know where she is or who the father is. The poor children, 2 girls and a boy, live with her, and she supports them. Sad, really. Lainey followed her to the cereal aisle. She was tempted to grab another bag of chocolate crocs since theirs was almost empty. Instead, she grabbed some healthy-looking, wheaty bricks. Then there's Eve. For some reason, when she mentioned his name, Lainey's heart leapt. Too warm to be comfortable, she removed her sweater and draped it over the cart, listening intently. He brings different girls to things. He brought Hiroko Takada to the company picnic. Who? The daughter of Atatakai International's CEO. She is also their acquiring specialist. I think they are dating. Oh, it's hard to tell if Eve is courting her or her company. There was a flash of metal when she stuck out her tongue, a stud she only wore on weekends. But let me tell you this, mon ami, never marry a Swiss man. She pressed forward to the juice aisle, stacking a box each of pear, nectarine, and apricot juices in the cart. Lainey hurried to keep up. What? She didn't catch what Mary Claire said. Never marry a Swiss man. Look around. Lainey glanced around the store, then realized Mary Claire didn't mean literally. You see all these exotic women from Thailand, Peru, Taiwan. Swiss men find them on their exotic travels and, after they marry, whisk them away from their homes. They come here and they are miserable, I tell you, and homesick. This is a cold country, mon cœur, and I'm not talking about the weather. There are many lonely, lonely women. Maybe they will live in Japan. I doubt it. Around the corner was the meat section. I doubt he would leave. His mother still lives here. She's American, tu vois? But she stays for Eve. They are close, I hear, since her husband died. But I tell you, never ever marry a Swiss man or you'll be stuck here for the rest of your life. Lainey didn't think Switzerland was such an awful place. So far, it was scenic, sunny, and clean. Really clean. Chilly, maybe. And, Mary Claire continued, picking up some bone-in chicken, Swiss don't have a sense of humor. I've never seen any of them so much as crack a smile. Interesting. Lainey had seen Monsieur Clermont smile, at least a half-smile, at her. She didn't mention it. Mary Claire enjoyed her opinions. So, Lainey, you are the only one I don't know about. Tell me more about your boyfriend. Aaron, is it? She began. Hadn't she told her they had broken up? Why did Mary Claire still think they were together? First, tell me where you met. Aaron was her least favorite topic right now. The painful incident at the going-away party had ruined their relationship forever. He was such a different person than the guy she met in the co-ed dormitory bathroom her junior year. You see, I had washed my face, water dripping from my eyes. At the next sink, he watched me, feeling around for my forgotten towel, and let me borrow his. It was such an intimate gesture for a stranger. I was struck by his thoughtfulness, his awareness of my needs. They dated until 2 weeks before she left, when he said this was the perfect opportunity to take a break from each other, a code word for breakup. Then the going-away party sealed the deal. They still hadn't talked about it. What defined taking a break? Breaking her heart? Lainey was about to explain more when they arrived at the last aisle. Her heart pattered against her rib cage. A whole aisle dedicated to chocolate. Even with their wrappers on, the chocolate smelled delicious. First were the plaques. Various wrappers stretched out along the aisles as colorful as a rainbow. Rows upon rows of 100-gram plaques of chocolate. Farther on were blue boxes of shaped chocolates, chocolate bars with nuts, powders, candies, sticks. Lainey loved living in a country where they believed chocolate was good for you, nay, a food group essential for life. Reverently, as if entering a sacred shrine, Lainey gaped for several minutes before even touching a bar. It was so beautiful, she almost cried. Mary Claire nodded with understanding and waited at the edge of the aisle as Lainey paid homage at this holiest of altars. Lainey grabbed a small basket at the end cap. Now the dilemma. Which ones? She had to buy several bars for her to eat, for snacks, to eat at work, for breakfast. A pain au chocolat, minus the pastry. She needed to sample one of each, just to see which one tasted the best. When in Switzerland, eat like the Swiss. They ate at least 2 pounds a month. She converted kilograms to pounds and decided just to round to 400 grams to a pound. Oh, and then she needed to buy some for Nadine. She'd be mad if she came all the way out here and didn't bring her home any chocolate. Lainey had forgiven her. Everything would end well. She chose a variety pack of 5, 2 milk, 2 hazelnut, and a dark chocolate, wrapped together in plastic. Her parents, of course, needed some. A box, perhaps. She moved down to the boxes. They were considerably more expensive, though they had truffles, C-shapes, milk mixed with white chocolate, fillings of pralines, caramel, ganache, liqueur. After comparing price to weight, she went back to the bars. Her dad only ate white chocolate. Easy. A few bars of white, some with almonds, some with hazelnuts, some with peppermint. Her mom loved nuts. She grabbed a few varieties for her. Erin didn't deserve any chocolate. For herself, she stood back to take it all in. What should she choose? Dark, extra milk, with mint, orange, hazelnut, almonds, pralines, citrus and pepper, pear, raspberry, blueberry, with or without crispy rice, bits of cookie, malted. Her mom would enjoy those. She grabbed her a couple. She giggled with delight. This was so much fun. Her basket weighed so much it left a red mark on her forearm. When they checked out, Mary Claire's food passed on the belt. When it was Lainey's turn, she had nearly 40 plaques of chocolate. The middle-aged cashier didn't even blink an eye. Luckily, Lainey's paycheck was going to be big. Before bed, she tallied her daily score of how many bad things happened to her. Number 46, 20 Swiss francs blew away in the wind. Number 47, knocked over some lady's cart. Don't ask how it happened. Number 48, burned myself making the pasta for dinner while separating the pasta from the water without a colander.